Hello, everybody. It's good. What do we got today? Tuesday morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Hey, Jen, how's it going? Watch the first 2/3 of yesterday's VOD. Your bias was my fave stream so far. It's weird not being able to crack my jokes. Well, don't worry. We're definitely going to be getting to more of that today because, yeah, I'm just going to fight the final boss and then turn Tails into just kind of a thing I'll do occasionally. Because at this point, I'd just be going around trying to do side quests. Which, meh, as good as that is, that's just kind of delaying the inevitable. How you doing this morning? Also, am I coming through clear? I kind of put a pop filter on the end of this mic, so I don't know how I sound going through it now. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. I can only, diagnose my own audio so much. Woke up at a decent hour for once. That's good. Alright. I'm just gonna head right to the final boss and we're just gonna get it done. Guys, it's about time I kick Mythos' ass once and for all. Yeah, there's the destroyed tower. Where's the save point? I want to save just outside here in case I want to go back to the save file later. And everyone's healed up. I got my team how I want them. Let's go, Mythos.
Home. I'm going home.
Mythos, listen to me. We don't have to fight. Please return the Great Sea to us so that we can reunite the worlds.
Home. I'm going home.
Something's wrong. He sounds like a puppet.
What?
I need to thank you for going through all the trouble to bring me back here. I'm finally myself again.
Damn. So that's what this was all about.
Mythos, Martel is already dead.
That's not true. Martel is alive. Just as I lived on in the Crucius Crystal.
That's not living. That's just existing as a lifeless being.
What's wrong with that?
What?
After all, in our bodies flow the bloods of humans and elves, the bloods of those that despise us.
It kind of gave them reason to despise them, you asshole.
We're better off casting aside such filth and become lifeless beings.
That's what you really want?
Of course. Watch. When you become a lifeless being, you can even control your appearance and growth. Everyone should become lifeless beings. I told you before. The only way to eliminate discrimination is for everyone to become the same race.
Doesn't work that way, buddy.
What you hope for is nothing but a dream, Mythos. Discrimination comes from the heart.
He's right, Mythos. It's the weakness of people's hearts that causes discrimination. Looking down upon others while placing themselves too high.
You do the same thing. You look down on humans and elves, treating them like cattle. That's the weakness of your heart.
Even if people become lifeless beings, nothing will change. Discrimination will continue.
Then where should the half-elves go? We aren't accepted anywhere. We opened our hearts, but no one took us in. Where should we live?
You can live anywhere you like.
Don't make me laugh.
I'm serious. Anywhere is fine. If you aren't doing anything wrong, you should just live proudly in the open.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, even just, it doesn't even have to be half-elves, just in general. If you're not doing anything wrong, live proudly in the open. Game from 2004 can be kind of woke.
It's because we couldn't do that. That we wanted a place of our own.
Sorry, but don't act like you're the only victim here. It doesn't even come close to justifying all the things that you've done.
What you've done caused meaningless suffering and death to countless people. Can you feel their pain?
People can change, even if they don't change right away. Months, years, as time passes, change is inevitable.
Maybe not everything can be forgiven, but one can try to atone for one's sins. Can't you feel it in your heart? The goddess known as conscience.
Do you think I'm gonna beg for forgiveness? Ridiculous. There is no goddess, so I would continue to pursue my ideals. If there is no place where I can live, and if I've been denied my age of lifeless beings, then the only thing left for me is to build a new world on Darris Carlon. A world just for my sister and me. There's nothing anyone can do.
Alright, let's kick his ass. 4,000 years in the making.
Holy Lance! I got it!
I ran right into it.
Healing circle!
Disappear.
Demon Fett, lightning spear.
Ready?
Disappear.
Acuteness! Ray!
Demon Fett, lightning victory light spear.
Disappear.
Demon Fang. Lightning blade.
Ready? Healing circle!
Demon Fang, lightning blade.
Scatter.
Demon Fang, lightning
Healing
blade.
circle!
Lightning blade.
Pretty good.
Holy Lance!
Demon Fang, lightning blade.
Field barrier!
How much have I whittled them down? Not too much. Okay.
Demon Fett, lightning blade.
He's not doing anything crazy.
Disappear.
Retribution! Help is on the way. Healing circle!
Demon Fett, lightning blade.
Disappear.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to do something about this.
Here you go.
Bye.
Oh, good lord, no! Go away! Here's all status effects.
Thank you.
There, now Rain can do something.
Disappear.
Yes.
Help is on the way. Healing circle!
Lightning blade.
That one.
Be careful.
Demon Fett, not the face. Demon lightning blade.
Nurse!
Demon lightning blade.
Holy Lance!
Disappear.
All right.
Photon!
Demon Fang. sorry.
Ah, I actually died once. Wild, he's got still most of his health. Fuck. I got this.
Demon lightning
Yeah.
Here you go.
Help is on the way. Nurse!
lightning blade.
Disappear.
Demon fang. Lightning blade. Sword blade. Demon. Lightning blade.
Revitalize!
Disappear. I won't let anyone get in my way.
That does sound good.
Healing circle!
I'll revert this entire world back to nothingness.
Going to destroy the world just for your sister? Demon. You're the one who doesn't understand.
You don't stand a chance.
No, do not world me.
Scatter. Get away from me.
Oh yeah. No
Noah's on the way! Healing circle!
Demon. Lightning blade. Demon. Lightning blade.
Holy lance!
Demon. Lightning blade.
Circle!
Demon fang.
Disappear.
Lightning blade.
Yeah, I think I'm still technically slightly under leveled for this fight, but I'm still doing fine.
Demon
That's why it's just taking forever to actually, you know, hurt him.
Nurse is on the way! Nurse!
Disappear.
Retribution!
Here you go.
Pretty good.
Nurse!
Thank you. Scatter. Be careful. Goodbye.
Judgment!
Sorry.
Goddamn.
Get away from me.
Sorry.
Okay, thank God that popped before she died.
Disappear.
Good lord.
Be careful. Disappear.
Lightning blade.
Lloyd, come back to life. I need you.
Disappear.
Lightning blade.
Photon!
And of course, light does nothing to it.
Now!
Disappear.
You're almost dead. Almost dead. Almost dead.
Healing circle!
Demon fang. Lightning blade.
Disappear.
Demon beast.
Here you go.
Ready?
Get away from me.
Revitalize! Judgment!
Disappear.
Lightning blade.
Be careful.
Almost down.
Demon fang. Lightning.
Here you go.
Disappear.
Ready? Healing circle!
Demon fang. Lightning blade.
How many life? Okay, I've
Be
used
careful.
too many life bottles for my liking.
Do that.
Good lord.
Be careful. Be careful.
Disappear.
What a sorry
Oh,
way to
come
go.
on. Don't do this to me. Not now.
Be careful.
Hey, Rain, stop standing around and use your best freaking healing move. Now.
My dream of a world for my sister and me.
Pretty good. It's not over yet.
Ooh, I lost grade on that one. any Japanese role-playing game, boss, this isn't my final form. Rain, you need to use Revitalize, please, and thank you.
Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear.
Ready?
Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear.
Healing circle.
Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear. Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear. Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear.
It's a lot easier like this.
Field barrier.
Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear. Demon Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear.
Yeah, he's going down a lot quicker than his first form.
Alright. Demon Fang.
Photon.
Demon Fang, Lightning Blade, Victory Light Spear.
Almost dead, Mythos.
Demon Fang, Lightning Blade,
Revitalize.
Victory Light Spear. Demon Fang.
Darkness.
Oh yeah. Demon Fang.
Martel.
Hooray!
I rule.
Mythos is dead.
So cool.
Mythos is... It's just like Alicia. Mythos will continue to live as long as the Crucius Crystal exists.
And eventually, I will be taken over by the crystal.
Mythos.
Tired of playing your game of good and evil? Hurry up and destroy the crystal. If you don't, Darius Carline will continue to drift away.
Mythos.
Do it now. Before I... too... am no longer myself.
Lloyd, please, help him! Let him die while he's still himself.
Why should we show him mercy?
All right.
Farewell, my shadow. You who stand at the end of the path I chose not to follow. I wanted my own world, so I don't regret my choice. I would make the same choice all over again. I will continue to choose this path.
Okay, now Mythos is 100% dead this time, I think.
You could have lived with us in our world. Damn it.
But you had to be a poo-poo head. Yep.
The old master of the pact is no more. What does the new master of the pact ask of this sword?
Restore the true form of our two worlds.
two worlds now became one again. I'm sure that won't cause any problems.
Are we back? What's going on?
What are you all doing?
Your wish is granted. But there is no link. Without a link, the land will die.
What do you mean?
The world was originally separated into two in order to prevent its destruction. If it returns to its true form, the world lacks the mana to support itself. The land is dying.
I don't need to know why it's dying. What do we need to do to stop it?
Support the two worlds by linking them with a giant tree. That is the only way to stop the destruction of the land.
We need to awaken the giant Carlin tree.
I get it.
Lloyd, hurry! You have to shine the mana of Darius Carlon on the Great Seed before Darius Carlon is too far away.
All right then. I'm counting on you, Eternal Sword.
Darius Carlin is already at the edge of the gravitational field. Not even Yggdrasil. Mythos could stop this from happening.
Well, I mean, we kind of kicked his ass, so I think we can do what he couldn't.
Do you still intend to try?
Yeah.
Even strengthened by your X-Sphere, it is likely that your body will not withstand the forces. Are you certain of your decision?
I said I'm doing it, so I'm doing it. It's not like we have a choice.
Very well.
It's not working. The mana's being deflected.
The Great Seed is already dead.
Wait, don't go. Please, wake up!
And Lloyd sprouts giant wings out of nowhere.
It looks like Darius Carlon stopped moving away.
Yeah, but why? The Eternal Sword is gone. The Eternal Sword!
Thank goodness.
This is my final wish. Eternal Sword.
Please awaken the Great Seed.
I beg you, please wake up!
Please!
Rise, giant Carlon tree!
There's Tabitha Jen in Animu format.
Martell, and also the incarnation of the Great Seed itself. Lloyd, your hope, as well as those of many others, resurrected me.
So you're Mythos' sister?
No, Mythos' sister Martell is only one of the many souls within me. I am Mana, and I am the giant tree. I am the symbol of the many lives sacrificed to the Great Seed. I am a new spirit born to accompany the giant tree. And now the seed has awakened anew along with me.
Yes, this is the ending. It's a long ending.
This is the giant Carlon tree?
It's so beautiful and so grand.
This is the future form of the giant tree, but right now, it is only a small seedling. In its current state, the tree will wither and die.
Well then, how do we protect it?
You must provide the tree with love and adoration. As long as those conditions are met, I shall always protect the seedling.
I promise, if the tree ever starts to wither, I'll make sure we won't let it die.
Then Lloyd, on behalf of all living things, I want you to give this tree a new name, as a proof of the pact.
What?
The giant Carlon tree was planted here by the elves when they first came, as a guardian to watch over and protect them. This newly reborn tree protects elves, humans, and the lives of all those who are caught in between. Therefore, this tree requires a new name.
Lloyd, pick a name for us. A name for everyone's tree.
So this tree is the link that connects the world. Okay, I got it. This tree's name is...
And they never tell you the answer. But, spoiler alert, he calls the tree Yggdrasil. Because this game is actually a prequel to Tales of Fantasia. I think the first Tales game? Yeah, this is a prequel set thousands of years before then, so the tree in that game is the same tree that's about to grow now. Now the long-ass credits, and yes, there is technically after-credit scenes. And I'm pretty sure I can't skip any of this either, so we're just gonna sit through this. Oh, the original credits didn't have these side cuts, so with little pictures. No, we just had the straight credits, so we had to sit through this for God knows how long back then. Until we got to the actual after-credit stuff. So, what'd you think of that ending? Also, apparently Gynex worked on this. Production IG. Huh. Bigger names. I'm just realizing it was a nice surprise. Assume getting the seed or something would be a whole other thing. Oh god, that just would have been. Ugh. Game would have just went on for way too long at that point. I mean, how many times have we changed what our goal was? First, it's let's regenerate the world. Oh no, okay. Let's try to bring Colette back to normal. Okay. Try to get back to our world. Oh my god, Zelos and his freaking speedo, Jesus. And let's help these people. Actually, no, now they're bad, so let's avoid them. Let's try breaking the links between the worlds. That'll do it. Oh no, that's screwing things up. Okay, let's try to reunite the world. Okay, now we gotta kill Mythos the hero. It's just too many things. I think if they added a whole other section where we had to quest to, actually get the damn seed, I think they would have ruined the game at that point. We went through a lot. Oh, Kratos, you're just a guest party member. But an important one. Still my favorite character in this whole game. Hey, that's no fair. I never saw that scene. One of my favorite games of all time. A lot of that is probably nostalgia, but I still enjoy playing it, even now. Says the same thing. Eventually, I want to watch the OVA. It's the OVAs. They made OVAs of this. I've only ever seen the first episode of it. Are you done yet, credits? We get to the after credits scene?
Grandmother, I'm home.
Oh, chosen one.
No, Grandmother, I'm not a chosen anymore.
Oh, yes. Colette, you have made us all proud.
Welcome home, Colette.
It's good to be home, Father.
I see. So, Kratos will travel with Deres Karlon wherever it may go. What are you going to do? Go back to Iselia?
No. We're going out to visit new lands.
We're going around the world to try and make it easier for half-elves to be accepted.
It sounds like you have a difficult journey ahead of you.
We can return to Iselia when we're tired.
We will always have a home there. Hi, everyone. I'm back.
Sheena, I'm so glad you're safe.
Congratulations, Sheena.
And don't congratulate me yet. A whole new world lies before us now. We have to inform everyone about the revival of the Igaguri style.
Yes, and for when Kuchinawa returns as well.
Yeah! Come on, everyone. Let's work as hard as we can. We're gonna make the village of Mizuho into a ninja clan to be proud of.
See, look what happened. It's all because the Pope opened up his big mouth and tried to banish me and stuff. The whole world got messed up.
Well then, Chosen One, what would you have me do?
We'll send an emissary of peace to East Salia.
Emissary? Who do you plan to send?
How about Sheena from Mizuho? She's already involved.
So the emissary of death becomes the emissary of peace.
I won't let you say no. Until you do something about the Church of Martel, I still have the rights of the Chosen, remember?
Alicia, I'm finally myself again. Time is finally starting to flow again from that night 16 years ago. You know what? I'm 28 years old now. Can you believe that?
Were you talking with Alicia?
Yes.
I just got back from overseeing the destruction of part of the mine. Now that that's done, we can rest assured that no new X-spheres will be excavated.
That's good to hear. What are your plans now?
I'm going to devote the full resources of my company to revitalization projects in order to build a new and better world.
I'll help too. I'm sure Alicia and Daddy would have wanted me to.
Are you really going to Darius, Carlon?
If a half-elf of Crucius remains here, the other half-elves will have no place to live. As a surviving member of Crucius, I must bear the responsibility for what has happened.
I'm going to collect all the X-spheres remaining in this land.
And I will discard all of Crucius's X-spheres into space. I've dragged you into this until the very end.
It's okay.
It's time for me to go. Please use that sword to send us to Darius Carlon.
Goodbye, Dad.
Don't die before I do, Lloyd. My son.
Kratos, you're immortal. Lloyd's just a dude. And now they have 2 moons.
Mom, Dad left. That was okay, wasn't it? For me to let him go? It was okay, right?
Lloyd, you wanted to go with them, didn't you?
No. I have my own path to follow. And Dad has his. And besides, I have a dad here already.
I see. Then I won't say any more.
Mom, I'll leave Dad's sword here beside you. Well, I'm off.
There we go. That was Tales of Symphonia. Nice little end card there. There we go. I beat the game. I'm going to use the second save file for my completed save file. Okay. Back to the title screen now. If I go and load the save file with the star, I get this. Congratulations on completing the game. You can now begin a new game with a variety of special features by using your grade from your completed game. All earned grade carries over into the next game. So yeah, for a next playthrough using this save file, I can just turn things on to carry over. Like everything I've got in my collector's book, all the monsters I've seen, any data I have from minigames I played, all my techniques, the world map data, how many times I've used techniques, skills, the affection points, everything. Didn't even carry over any money I had. Also, I can increase the amount of items I carry to 30 instead of 20. I don't know why that's the cap, but whatever. Unfortunately, I play like absolute dog shit, so I only have 1,000 grade to work with. Well, yeah, that's our New Game Plus menu here. I can make it easier for myself, or I can make it harder for myself. Oh yeah, just throw on half XP. I don't want to earn anything. Give me minimal HP too. That's just a fun thing. So that's why you want to do well in battles and not die a lot like I did. So you get more grade. So you get better stuff from the grade shop. Okay, I'm going to just quickly switch to just me. Alright, cool. Tales of Symphonia is now done. I'm just going to turn that into an every now and again kind of thing. I'll go back into the old save and try and do some of the side quests and whatnot. So, that's off my main list of, my main rotation of games for now. And since I have a fair amount of time left, I'm doing the other thing I want to do. So, just stand by for a few seconds as I prep my volume and everything. Oh yeah, I have it pinned, that's right. Okay. Now, this isn't the game's music isn't too loud, right? I think I turned it out well enough. For whatever reason, when I started it up yesterday, it was incredibly loud for Nichols. Alright, good. Good. So yeah, until 12 o'clock, I'll just continue on with Katawa Shoujo, because as it stands right now, I will not be getting through an act a stream. That is now impossible. So I'm going to use any extra time I have to get through at least Act 1. If I can complete Act 1 by Valentine's Day, I'll consider that goal accomplished. Mission complete. Alright. Gonna load up our save from yesterday. An hour and a half I played. And I didn't get very far, Jesus. Yeah, I want to do one act a stream because I looked at all my save files and the longest one was like 8 hours. So I figure, yeah, I can do it. 2 hours per act. Nope. Hour and a half and I haven't even met any other girls besides Misha and Shizune. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But I just I overestimated how quickly I'd get through this. Anyway, so just very, very brief summary of, hold on, actually, I gotta change my, game here. Hope that works. There we go. Perfect. I don't want my thing to stay, Tales Symphonia while I'm playing this. Because I'm curious, I want to see what quote comes up when I do quote. Oh. That's gonna be fun. Alright, so brief summary of what happened. We got confessed to by a girl. We had a heart attack because of it. Now we're at a school that specializes in, dealing with disabled students. And we've been essentially forced to play a game of Risk with the two members of the student council who keep trying to say, hey, join the student council. Come on, you lose this game. Join the student council, right? Fucking Misha and Shizune. Okay. So, where I left off. Yesterday, I left off at the choice. For playing Risk. So I got a choice of either playing defensively or just going all out attack at this point, because, in their words, I'm gonna lose. As usual, these choices will either give me a point with them for potentially getting their route or not. I'm gonna edge on the side of caution here and play defensively. Yep, go ahead. What's Misha's disability? Never actually stated. Though either in this route or another, like in one of the routes, they do state that you don't have to be disabled to go to Yamaku. You can just be, you know, a regular person. Like a normal... that's actually a horrible way to phrase that. You can be a person without any kind of physical disability and still go to this school. The school will just is set up to deal with people with disabilities better. Yes, I mean, they're regular people. They just have disabilities. Ugh. Wow, I phrased that so badly. Oh my god, I apologize. The running theory, though, is Misha may have ADD or ADHD, considering how loud and boisterous she can be at all times and just kind of does whatever, wherever she is. Mom has arrhythmia. I think that's spelled with like a Y and 2 R's or something in the beginning. I don't know. Re-look at the first VOD, it comes up. But remember, in Hisao's case, just even running a little too much could potentially make him drop dead. Because they caught it so late. He's 18 years old and they just found out now he has a heart defect. So, you know, open heart surgery at the age of 18, spending 4 months in recovery, and now Jesus has to change his whole life. He probably just has a fairly severe case. Plus, I mean, he has to take his medication every day, or he does have the potential of dying. His massive amount of meds, apparently. Alright. Oh my god. So we're challenging Emmy to a race, right? We'll see. I mean, we haven't even been introduced to Emmy yet. We haven't been introduced to anybody other than Misha, Shizune, and Kenji. I still got half the cast to go. I don't even know if I'm gonna meet anyone else today. No soccer. I'ma race you. That one, I'm probably gonna flip a coin, in all honesty. That one, I'll literally leave up to chance. Alright. It's likely that she's just trying to psych me out. Looking at the board again, I have a pretty good defense set up, and I'm not gonna wreck it doing something reckless. few turns later, I lose the game anyway. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration. Insert wahaha here. Now I gotta remember how the fuck I did Misha's voice. Oh, whatever. Winging it again, as always.
Hey, Chad. You lost when you allowed me to take North America. I mean Shi-chan, not me. Getting control of North America is ambitious because it provides a 5-army bonus. But you can attack it from 3 fronts, so you must defend them all. I thought you'd have more guts. How disappointing. Ambition, He-chan. Your play needs to be more daring. Ambition, ambition. I was really excited when you took South America. Then you switched to playing defensively because you gained a small advantage. That's no good, He-chan. You didn't take enough risks, and when you did, you didn't follow through. That's terrible, He-chan.
Damn, what's it to her if I play too carefully? There's no need to rub it in my face.
I wonder if you'd be any good for the student council.
What's this? Reverse psychology? I guess I don't have to worry about joining or not in that case. Savage.
Giving up just like that? I expected more of you.
Seriously, is Shizune trying to taunt me into joining the council? Besides, I don't even want to join. It's only my 2nd day. I can't make that kind of commitment. I haven't even taken a look at any of the other clubs yet. And these two, they're a little weird. Fine. I'll consider joining the council, but I want to take a look at the clubs before I decide.
Really, He-chan? You're not just saying that to make us feel better?
Yeah, I'm just not sure that I want to.
Ah. Okay, He-chan, but we're not going to give up so easily. You said maybe. There's still a chance you'll come around. Come on! We can really have fun! We can play more Risk, and maybe one day you could beat me, unless we graduate before that.
That doesn't make me feel any less reluctant about joining, you know. Insert wahaha here.
Surely you're not that horrible at board games. Maybe we can play a game you know then, to give you a handicap.
I might have said that just to make you feel better after all.
Ah, that's cold, He-chan.
Take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall.
It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the 2nd floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is?
No thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye!
One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. Second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain like only hallways can be. The problem is the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. Classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them? Or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though. Just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask for directions no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks open as if groaning from a deep sleep, though it was much easier to open than I'd anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head ever further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. Yeah. Yeah, damn it. This is not what I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. Yes, it's Lily. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently, having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. I've never even thought of what kind of voice I'd give anybody else now. I'll wing it, go with my gut, and it's probably gonna change 400 times like every other voice I do. Yes, she's a classy lady. You could make her quite posh. She's also Scottish. Want me to do a horrible Scottish accent too? What are you talking about? You don't want to hear it sound like this all the time? that just went horrible at the very end. I don't know what happened there. Oh, good lord. That went very Australian. Hey, Nichols, how's it going? Okay. Yeah, I'm just wing it. Go with it. I gotta stop playing games with 400 million female characters. Hello there. May I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. Just trying to troubleshoot your camera? Oh my god, it's still giving you trouble? Holy crap. I am sorry you have to go through that. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Ooh, that really sucks. Literally objectifying, she was one with the room. Ugh. I mean, she's just kind of literally sitting there, like almost perfectly still. I don't know. I think that's just kind of what he's getting at. Maybe. Yeah. Put on your, whatever. Just don't be disrespecting my best girl. You can disrespect Hisao all you want. I don't give a shit about him. Hi. Sorry for intruding. I was just kinda lost. Oh, are men writing women? She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step toward another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness to her eyes, means that she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yeah. I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match, before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lily Sato. Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along the shelf. Brush here, brush there, the left hand often lightly touching the side of whatever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and me, I mean some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring the water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it's being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking toward the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, it smells quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. Tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So, which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself with a faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem to in the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure. Sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. A category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunchtimes. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune's blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kinds of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunchtimes, the baseball club, and the book club in a room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I was just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club?
It isn't, though it is encouraged.
Ah, good. That's a relief. I've really let my guard... Yeah, I really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it, as Lily does the same. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. Huh. Time's gone quickly.
Sorry?
Right. She's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of the time.
Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long.
I quickly move to allay her concern. Ah, no, it's okay. Library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case.
True. It's open until 6:30 during weekdays.
A quick glance at my watch confirms I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking to you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her.
It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is?
I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me. Which they seem to have a habit of doing.
It's alright. I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you.
This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together, we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers, we slowly walk through the hallway. Doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door of the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. Come on, Hisao. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, the distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. There doesn't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in the school grounds or the dorms.
Yuko, are you here?
She says it to thin air since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail.
Ah!
The Origin, apparently the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Hi, Lily. How can I help you? Her voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing the back of her head. Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. It's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped, and I was looking for both of them. You came and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I couldn't know. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she'd be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look. She seems to fit a library perfectly. Ah, Lily! Did you get my message? Message? Oh, 2 imported books that arrived? Right. They finally came in. I can't believe it took so long, but... Amidst her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure, she notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book? Or return one? I'm sorry. The way she can so quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. He's with me. Yuko, this is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. Pleased to meet you. Hisao. Right. Hisao. Pleased to meet you too. Hisao. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility. Yuko, you giant bag of nerves. I relate to you so much. How it's any responsibility at all, I don't get. But her objection is so sincere, I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. What a description of that. My God. But so there are a lot of books in Braille here? I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work, at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least look slightly less tense. Well, I think about a third or a fourth of Yamaku's library is either in Braille or audio. That makes sense, given all the blind students that be here. If it's only that, how come this library is so big in the first place? Well, we get a lot of new books regularly, because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. I spend more on new books than on my salary, and then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome, and they weigh so much. I wish I could quit this job. Oh, Yuko, my God. Every minimum wage worker everywhere. Yes, an adequately endowed library. I never knew you could describe a library that way, but okay. A very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check out the aisles then, if you don't mind. It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me.
Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko, I would have those books if that's alright with you.
My first impression was right. The library is surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I study the spines of the books in random order, occasionally sliding one out to read the blurb, taking it with me if it looks good. In a few moments, I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. Guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large print and braille books scattered throughout, but it is what it is. A library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lillian snuck with us in here. Unless it was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease. Just like before. I reach the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further, though, I discover a nice quiet corner at the back. While the rest of the library has the odd student sitting at a desk, either reading or stealthily sleeping, the back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize sitting on one of several beanbags. Oh, this little Hanako. It's the dark-haired girl from my class. The one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes her look like she's really into it. From the way she's acting today, I'd have pegged her as more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whys in my head. Intrigue floats slowly but surely toward the surface, and before I know it, I'm walking toward the mysterious long-haired girl. I guess there's no harm in introducing myself, as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate, after all. Walking over to another beanbag, I take a seat and lay my books beside it. The girl starts, looking scarily up at me from underneath her fringe. This is the first time I've seen her this close. Underneath her long, dense bangs, I can see part of her face. At least a third, if not half, is pretty badly scarred. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scars, subconsciously peeking past her hair until they meet her own eyes. For a second, I'm shocked, and divert my eyes to the book in her hands, before I realize that looking away probably only makes it worse. It takes too many seconds to collect myself and remember what I walked up to her for. Okay. What am I gonna be saying here? Do I say hi? Or do I apologize for startling her? I'm gonna see if I still have something saved right now. Probably do. Oh wow, I actually do. Okay. Cool. Good to know. Well, I mean, I'm gonna apologize for startling her. Not just be like walking up. She jumps the minute I get there and it's like, hey, how's it going? My name's Sasao. Wanna be my friend? That's a little much. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
It's okay.
The girl certainly doesn't look like it's okay, but I let it slide. So, do you mind if I sit here? She seems to be very uncertain whether it's okay or not for me to sit, but finally she nods. Just a little.
Oh, okay.
I take a seat next to her, and she hides herself behind her book. Life of Pi. Never heard of it. I read it. I had to do a whole frickin' project about it, as did the rest of the class. So I kinda hate it just because of that. That I was forced to read this book for marks, and not out of enjoyment. Because it's Canadian. Yes, that's totally the reason why I read Life of Pi. Because it's Canadian. So, sorry again for startling you. I'm Sal. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. From Hisao's perspective, of course he probably wouldn't have heard of it. He's Japanese. Though, yeah, then again, you never know. I mean, the dude was really into books in his 4 months. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'll go with the first. Yeah, it's a Canadian book, so he's probably... There's a good chance he didn't hear of it. Now I'm just talking too much. She looks up from her book, stalling a little before replying.
No. We are in the same class.
Her speech is stilted and so quiet that it's barely audible, even in the still library. Somehow I think my delinquent impression of her was wrong.
Hanako. I'm Hanako.
I resist the urge to say, that's a nice name. Just to have something to say, but really, it's the only thing that I can think of. I feel like an idiot. Everyone here must be used to being different to each other, and here I am being all bothered and fussed about that kind of thing. Don't let me interrupt your reading. I'll just check out these books if you don't mind. She nods a little and sighs a little sigh of relief. So I try to read the covers and introduction of the books I picked up, and she buries her face in her book. Uncomfortable silence consumes us. My eyes still wander to her direction, and I sneak peeks at her flowing hair and the scars it's hiding. A little rude, dude. Come on. After a while, I realize that she's doing the same and only pretending to be immersed in Life of Pi. Her gaze is not inquisitive at all, though. It darts around like a scared rabbit. Our gazes finally meet. The chain reaction is unstoppable. She stands up forcefully from the beanbag and takes a deep breath.
I gotta go do something.
Without warning, Hanako takes off and runs towards the counter. Her hair-like takeoff catches me so off guard, I don't manage to go after her until she's at a good head start. By the time I reach the counter, she's nowhere to be seen. Lily and Yuko are happily chatting away. Knowing that I won't be able to catch Hanako myself, I approach the girls. Hey, did you notice a girl run past here? Maybe. What did she look like? Long, dark hair, kinda shy. She had, well, some scars on her face. You wouldn't be talking about Hanako, would you? Yeah, that's her. I saw her reading and tried to talk to her, but I think I scared her off or something. Oh dear. Yuko, would you excuse me? I'd better try to find her. Sure. I'll just hold on to these until you come back. What's going on? I'm sorry, but I'll have to explain it to you some other time. Right. I'll see you later then. Lily hastily grabs her cane and hurries out of the library, leaving me alone with Yuko. I don't think I'll ever get the hang of this place. Did I do something wrong? What did you do? Nothing! I was just looking for some books, and then she got this fit and ran off. The most offending thing I can think of was that I might have looked at her general direction a few times. Well, she is a very timid girl. You have to be very careful around her. She can be very jumpy, I think, and she's not accustomed to talking with other people. Isn't that a bit strange? I wonder. It's just how she is, I think. Yuko doesn't sound at all convincing. Then again, maybe this is just the norm around here. Everyone has their own problems, or else they wouldn't be here. But how should I deal with these people? Forcing myself to act overtly casual only makes me feel phony. Like I was supposed to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Yuko fidgets, looking like she wants to say something to that, but resists it. I think it's only an elephant if you feel that way. I guess she doesn't have a good sense of self-restraint. Okie doke. Makes me smile, and she blushes heavily. What? Did that sound stupid? No, it sounded really wise. I guess you're right. It's more about me than anyone else. Neither of us has anything to add, so Yuko fills the silence by shuffling some papers around. People who have papers on their desks really like doing that. Did you find any books? I should be closing soon. I mean, this library should be closing, but I have to do it. I hope it's not too inconvenient for you. Oh, yeah, I want some books, but I left them over there because I'll just go get them. I fetched my stack of books from beside the beanbags where Hanako and I were sitting and returned to the counter. Wow, you read a lot, don't you? Oh. Thanks for the follow. Potentially a bot, though. Where even is my alert box right now? Okay, it's in that corner. Game was blocking it. I surprised myself with that too, honestly. At least when I really think about it. I had a lot of free time earlier this year, so I just kind of started reading books to fill that time. I couldn't do much else. I see. But she doesn't say anything else, and just checks out my books for me. I guess this is what they call tact. Holding the library books with one arm, I trawl my pocket for the key to the door. A sudden sound behind me startles me, making me nearly drop the books I'm carrying, or the key that I almost managed to get into the lock. I know exactly who this is. Who is it? Fucking Kenji. I turn around to see who's talking to me. It's Kenji. He seems to be in a friendly mood, although the light glinting off his glasses in the dark gives him a sinister look. It's just me. This makes him pause and lick his lips nervously. Who is me? I don't know anyone called me. Are you some new guy again? His voice is suddenly strained and quick. Yes, but we've met before. Yesterday? I don't think so. I would remember someone I only met yesterday. When was that? What day is it today? I try to ignore him. Is he joking or what? Prove that we've met before. You live across the hall. You're Kenji. Kenji jumps back, his eyes filled with incomprehensible fear. How do you know my name? Damn, it's gonna be one of two things. Either we have met, and you're telling me the truth, and I just can't remember it, or you're a spy. He pauses. A psychic spy. His eyes dart around me, trying to peek into my room, although it's hard to believe he can see anything through those thick glasses. His mood swung from friendly to manic in less than a minute. I'm not a psychic. How do I know that? I'm not a mind reader. Kenji points a finger in my face damningly. Unlike you! Stop that, man. We met yesterday. What's wrong with you? I live in this room. Lies. If you think you could pass as Hisao because I'm legally blind, you are sorely mistaken. You don't even look like him. I mean, the resemblance is real slim. Maybe at a distance. But who do you think you're kidding? I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him. Exasperated, I rub my eyes and let out a heavy sigh. Stay there. Kenji comes closer, one careful step at a time. I stay still lest he assault me physically, although I doubt he could do much damage even if he did. Oh, wait. I see now. Damn, it really is you. Sighing again, and then once again for good measure, I step backwards, just in case. Sup, man? You don't look too good, I think. Something wrong? I don't know. I just had something stupid happen. A few stupid things, actually. Even if you discount this one. I can't get a proper touch on other people here, and I have no idea if it's because of me or because of them. I don't know why I'm telling this to Kenji. It's not like we had any contact either. That's rough, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry for calling you a psychic spy and all, but you can never be too careful. It's the hard reality we live in. I'm slowly starting to think that Kenji isn't necessarily living in the same reality as the rest of us. You see? This is how it is, this world. There is no justice. You see? Even when I lose, I win. Because I don't lose the lesson. What does that even mean? It doesn't matter. He dismisses it flatly with a wave of his hand. So, what happened? Why the long face? Do you have a long face? It's nothing. I just scared some girl off accidentally. literally 2. She actually ran away from me. It was my fault, really, I think. I'm not really used to all this yet. The girl? A cute one? Cute? That's a hard question. She had a nice body and really beautiful hair, but that face. Hisao, you motherfucker! Guess it could go either way. Yes, she is cute. She's a cute little cinnamon bun who must be protected at all costs. Yeah, cute, I guess. I knew it! There are a lot of cute girls here. A strangely disproportionate amount. I believe this is one of the dark secrets of this school. I tried to warn you, man, but did you listen? I don't remember any such warning. Dark secrets? Yes, dark secrets. Like, extremely dark. Like a black hole. Have you noticed that the number of girls in the school is slightly but significantly higher than the number of boys? It's like 60-40. He turns his head to the left and stares off into the distance at nothing. Why is it like this? I mean, to the untrained eye, it doesn't appear to be that bad. But that's a full 20%! One would think that a school with such a large pool of women would be a man's dream. But no! What I'm about to tell you could blow your mind. Are you ready? I don't know where this is going, but I think I won't be missing much by cutting out now. No, I'm not ready. I only get as far as turning the doorknob before Kenji starts talking again, showing that he doesn't really care if my mind is blown or not. I believe that this school is a battleground, the site of a feminist infiltration. This disparity in the number of men to women is a clear sign of how far they've come. In case this Cold War turns hot, they'll have superiority in numbers. Just another skirmish in the eternal war against the forces of feminists. They're everywhere. In Japan, women outnumber men. It's not a 60-40 split, but it's only a matter of time, man. Protect Hanako. Oh my god, okay, I gotta open that and watch it. Okay, wow, apparently I'm a lot quieter than I thought. Ugh. I'm never gonna get these audio levels right. Even in America, women are the majority by a hair. They're building up their numbers. In the past, the buildup of a military has always been the clearest sign of imminent war. Japan is just the first step. Our economy is badass, and the country itself is small and isolated, yet a huge part of the Pacific in terms of political value. Yeah, that's probably the thing. You have me turned up all the way. Oh, then again, I also have my headset turned all the way, like, pretty low. So I don't know. Whatever. If it's fine for everyone else, okay. I don't know. Maybe the pop filter I put on the end of this thing is dulling me somewhat. You only have half a headset right now. Well, if with only half a headset you're able to hear me well enough, I'm okay with that. The perfect target. They're so cunning, as expected of women. Soon, the day will come when... Kenji's voice trails off ominously. That is why you can't trust them. They'll string you along, and then kill you, just as they killed me. You'll end up just like me. Oh, hell no. I can't stop myself from blurting it out. Hey, what the hell does that mean? You said it, not me. It's the best I can think of. So, you're not supposed to screwing that up already. So, you're not supposed to say something like that. Damn, so rude. Where was I? Oh yeah, vast feminist conspiracy. Stop it. Stop. I lost you way back there somewhere. Somewhere around feminist infiltration. Too hard to follow? It's cool. I have some graphs and stuff in my room. And puppets. You like puppets? No puppets. You don't like puppets? Okay. Graphs are still cool though, right? He speaks energetically, responding almost before I'm done talking. Moving his hands in an animated way as he continues to rant on. Actually, hold on. Oh yeah, that's why I turned that down. This is too strange. I pegged him as relatively normal, but it's clear that I was wrong. Something on your mind, dude? Just thinking about what it's like to be the last sane man in an insane world. Kenji frowns, looking deeply upset. You mean that's you? That can't be, because I'm the last sane man in an insane world. That is my dream. You can't just steal a man's dream. What the hell? There can't be two last sane men. It would invalidate the whole last part. That part is kind of important. There can only be one. Like in that foreign movie where there can only be one. And in the end, there was only one dude left. Because that was the point. I've never seen anyone talk so heatedly and so defensively about absolutely nothing before. Anyway, if you wait here, I can get my graphs. I also have a list of other dark, complex conspiracies at this school. As tangled as... I feel like Kenji's writing his 4chan calling themselves out. Yeah, I think that was the point. Kenji is just 4chan. And he just looks like Harry Potter because... reasons. Quick, finish my analogy for me. Be a pal. I'm gonna go to bed now. It's extremely late. Doesn't sound like an analogy, but whatever. I like you. You seem like a cool dude. Most people don't understand what I'm talking about when I try to explain the vast feminist conspiracy to them. Denial is a terrible thing. Later. He claps me on the back and then vanishes into his room so quickly and quietly, it's like he didn't even open the door, but instead walked right through it like a ghost. I don't know if I can fully digest what just happened, so I give up and just go to my room, kicking off my shoes before falling face first into bed. When anyone who disagrees with you is in denial, yep, that's 4chan. And also how everything is a feminist conspiracy. They're just infiltrating everywhere so they can take over. Thanks for confirming that, Jen. I, for one, welcome our new feminist overlords. Oh god, imagine if this was made now. Oh my god. I don't even want to know what they would add. How batshit Kenji would be more so. They would turn him into the feminist they'd keep him as the guy spouting feminist conspiracy, but probably also make him an incel. So then we'd lose any kind of respect we might have had for him. Takes me some time to relax and get up so I can get started on homework. That's my thought. Sex bots and all that. It's because the sheets are cool and comforting against my cheeks, and it feels good just lying there with my eyes closed. Secret ending, he takes you to a dungeon for... Oh my god. Freaking hypothetical 2021 Kenji. Ugh. Why are you apologizing? That's just a thought I'm really scared of, honestly. He's like, oh my god. Kenji's insane, but we can at least somewhat like him now. If he was made in 2021, he'd be totally irredeemable. Making you see this / think about it. I mean, it was gonna come up at some point. I'm sure it would have happened, whether or not from you, but from someone somewhere on the internet. I don't know. The school is like some kind of bizarre and surreal island. It's isolated on top of a mountain, and each person is stranger than the last. I just can't seem to fit in. What irony. One would think that fitting in a place that's made for people who are unfit for anywhere else would be easy. Maybe I'm trying too hard. Although I say that, it doesn't help take the edge off, and the words are left echoing off my empty walls. Guess it's not as bad as I expected, though. This place really is more a school and less a hospital pretending it's a school than I thought it would be. If nothing else, scenery is beautiful. I open one eye, seeing the school books and bottles of pills arranged side by side on my desktop. Maybe this place is too much like a normal school after all. Something I learned. Did you know that's actually a full song? The little time passing jingle? That's a full song that has more than that little bit. Yeah, that. There's actually more to it. You only hear the rest if you have a slow-ass computer and it takes forever to load the next scene. Or if you just go into the music player and play it. Yeah, it's I think a full 2-minute track. Like everything else in the game. Yeah, so I think a lot of people probably haven't heard the full song before because their computers are easily able to load it up. At least every playthrough I've seen, they load through those scenes as fast as I did. What time? I am gonna save here. And I will call that... I'll call that a stream for now. Guys, it's almost 12 o'clock. I am incredibly hungry, and you're going to be starting soon, right, Jen? Alright, good. Well, at least I got a little farther into this game ahead of tomorrow, where it'll be actually a full 2 hours of it. So, well, at least I got a bunch of some stuff accomplished. Finished off Tales of Symphonia on stream, which is awesome. And finally met, Lily and Hanako. Only got 2 more girls to meet. But I think I still got a while until Act 1 is done. Let's see, just kind of looking at this, how... Okay, God, yeah. Yeah, I've got a while. There's so many more choices I have to make that'll eventually get me onto a girl's route. And no, I am not looking at the guide, the spreadsheet I have, or the stupid flowchart I have to pick a girl specifically. I'm just now using it to see, alright, where am I story-wise? I'm trying to make these choices as, natural as I can. No matter how much I actually want to get onto Lily's route. Though, knowing my luck, I'll get onto Emmy's route, considering she's the easiest one to get onto. But we'll see. Okay. So that might only be like 2 of us, but I'm just gonna send everyone over to Jen's stream anyhow. Just so everyone just kind of keep watching. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll be back here again. I'm pretty sure I said 10 o'clock for just straight Katawa Shoujo. So, I will see you all then. Till that time comes, have yourself a great day.